24/7 365, uniting all communities. Please make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Community Matters is a new show on Radio Salaam, asking questions that matter to our community life. Over the coming weeks, we will be looking into various subjects of interest to the local community, such as loneliness and homelessness, and the government's selection of Peterborough as one of just 6 cities to flagship their Inclusive Cities project. There's plenty to stay tuned for, and do make sure you send us your comments. Now for tonight's show, we are joined by Mohammed Saeed to discuss our Community Matters topic for tonight, which is the work of Community First in Peterborough. Mohammed Saeed was born in Pakistan and arrived in the United Kingdom in 1980 and has lived here ever since. He is married with 5 children and has been involved in local issues for a few years now. He helped to set up Community First Residents Association in 2015 with the hope of being able to make a difference to the lives of local people in a positive way. Currently, he is a member of the Hate Crime and Tension Monitoring Panel, which meets every 2 months, and he's also part of the Cambridgeshire Constabulary External Ethics Group. Saeed, a very warm welcome to you on Salaam Radio.
Good evening, Adrian. How are you?
Thank you. Good evening.
Excellent.
Now, our topic tonight is the work of Community First in Peterborough. When it was launched in December 2015, it was called Community First Residents Association. How did it get started and why?
Well, Adrian, in 2015, a few of us got together, mainly local residents in and around Cromwell Road, Russell Street area of Millfield, and we came across the same issues: parking issues, littering, fly tipping, antisocial behaviour, and we'd had community street associations before, and individuals had moved on, so those had fizzled away. So it was time for us to sort of put some heads together and start doing things where we needed to see a change. So we got together. Initially it was just Russell Street, then we had a couple of other people from different streets join us, and we decided, well, everybody's got the same issues, so we should carry this on and cover the whole of the Gladstone area. And that's how Community First Residents Association came about for the area that's known as the Gladstone area. It used to be Central Ward, and it's now split into 2, so we have North and Central. And 2015 we had our AGM, which is where we met yourself as well.
Yes, I remember. Yeah. In the Beaches School.
In the Beaches School, that's right. Yeah, and that was December 2015, and now here we are. Where are we? 2018.
Yes, 2.5 years got on. 2.5 years. So what were some of the issues and priorities that Community First tackled in its first 2 years?
One of the main issues was surrounding the supply and taking of drugs. We had a lot of issues around that. A lot of work has been done. The CCTV is almost ready and to be installed around the Russell Street, Cromwell Road, Borges Boulevard area. We've had a couple of successful operations by the police where we had what they call county gangs that moved up and took up spaces in Russell Street that were moved out. And after that, we've had a successful campaign with the City Council, with the help of our local councillors as well, to increase the street cleaning, especially around the Cromwell Road, Russell Street and the Lincoln Road area, where it used to be once a week. We now have street cleaning that is done twice a week, so rather than just the once a week, twice a week, so we get the hand-picked litter and everything. And also on the Lincoln Road, I think it's daily. We get a daily clean, just like the city centre does, where the shopping precinct is. So that's something that we've had some input into. We've
because I think Russell Street was being viewed as very much a thoroughfare for people travelling from out of town into the city centre.
That's right, yes. We asked the City Council to look at it again and sort of give it a different classification rather than just being a residential area, because its proximity to the city centre and the amount of foot flow that goes through Russell Street, that helped us in our campaign. So the cleaners would come up to Bright Street every Monday, but not over onto Russell Street. So we've had that increase, which is really good. It's made a difference. The fly tipping issues are still there. I mean, you'll see them daily, especially Craig Street, Russell Street. There are the hotspots as well, but it's a lot of it's to do with education and people just finding it easy to just excuse me, just to put the stuff out and the council will take it away, and not enough deterrent, and that's what it's coming down to. I think people are not afraid of the consequences, and we haven't really had any successful prosecutions lately that I've heard of from the city council or anything in that regard. So we are always pushing for the city council to try and get some successful prosecutions that will show that, you know, that they're serious about it. But it's a problem not just in Peterborough, not just in the Gladstone area. It's pretty much prevalent all over Peterborough and all over the UK. So,
and of course there's quite a transient population in the Central Ward area, but nobody wants to see rubbish piling up on their street corners.
No, that's right.
And I think one of the benefits that Community First have brought is to enable people to discover how they can report rubbish, and to see the prompt response from the City Council that we've been having.
That's right, yeah. We've encouraged people to use the app. So the City Council has an app, so it's very easy. It's called My Peterborough app. You can report numerous things on there, from street lighting, dumped cars, fly tipping and all sorts. And they do respond quite quickly. I've personally used it quite a bit, and it does make a difference. There are certain things that you do need to ring in for, like needles. There's a big issue at the moment. There's a petition, I think, on the Peterborough Evening Telegraph I was reading the other day. There's a petition going around, especially parks and those kind of areas. They're finding a lot of needles, used needles, which are obviously, if children get in contact with them or animals, it can be very dangerous. So those you can report to the City Council on the 747474 number, and they should, and they do mostly, come and within the hour try and clear that up for you. So yeah,
that's really good to know. Coming back to drugs for a moment, when we were subject to some gangs from out of town, I think there were even occasions when an axe was being mentioned.
That's
and
right, yeah.
I think I seen a video of a car being set on fire.
That's right. It did get out of hand. Russell Street was becoming a hotspot where we had confrontation between local youths and gangs that would thought they'd set themselves up because of its proximity to town again. A lot of their regular users could easily get access to them. The police did get involved. There were prosecutions, but there were, people were hurt as well. So yes, we had people hurt as well. There was a stabbing. There was axes produced at the park during the day. We had a car burnt out during the day as well, which I managed to get onto film as well. So yes, it did get out of hand, but the police did a good job. We had about a month of regular policing. I don't think it's seen a lot that much police presence before. So we had the police out almost every day whilst they were on duty, our local team, and they did a really good job, and that sort of cleared it up. But drugs will always be a problem. It's not something that's going to go away overnight. It's something that's a subculture that's always hanging around, and a root cause of a lot of the problems that we see in society. So when you look at the majority of homeless people, it's to do with drugs, and it's something that doesn't just affect the taker or the dealer. It actually affects the whole community when you look at the impact that it's having.
Of course,
yeah.
Yes. Is there anything we could do better to help the police in their work?
The police, I mean, a lot of the issues the police are suffering from is down to funding. They've just had a I was talking to a local police officer today, Chris Baker from the Campole Boxing, and he was mentioning how they've had a reshuffle, and a lot of duties that were done by smaller teams of police officers are now being the same police officers, but they're having to take over a larger area, so they've got more to do, a bigger community to serve rather than just a smaller area that they were concentrating on before. And that comes down to budget, and that's one of the biggest issues the police and the council are always telling us that they're suffering from, is the actual access to funds to keep themselves doing the work that they need to do, and it's very essential. Yep.
And it's not always that they will turn up on site and catch people in the act of exchanging drugs.
No.
So I wonder if there's something the community do that can help with intelligence, with knowledge of what's going on.
It's always led by the community. The community know what's happening. Residents will know when there's a change. I mean, we saw it in Russell Street. We saw new faces. We saw a group of young people that were hanging about constantly, that didn't live in the area or didn't live in the street, and would be there, just taking up the space and hanging about. And you could easily see that something was going on. There was always constant different groups of people meeting up and then disappearing, meeting up, disappearing. So it's always visible to those that know their own surroundings. So in your local area, you will always know when there's new people about, and there's either a property that's been taken over by new tenants or whatever, and there's activity going on. You'll always be aware of it. We had a similar sort of issue in Northfield Road, where there was a brothel operating. A local resident contacted us. We managed to get the police to go and have a look, but every time the police went, they had excuses, so they managed to evade the police that way. So it's a difficult job for the police to actually catch people with the evidence, because it's all about evidence, really. So yes, the more we report back to the police, the more they know that there's something going on and they've got to get something done.
So across the community, we have the eyes and the ears and the knowledge of what goes on in our own streets. We might be a little reluctant or even fearful to want to get in touch with the police, because we won't know, are we going to be drawn in? Will we have to attend court? Will we have to face the people that we're accusing? Can you reassure us about how the police gather their evidence?
The police will obviously keep the individual's details as confidential as possible. So it's never a matter of they won't share your data with anybody else. The police have. I sit on some of the panels, and these are some of the discussions that we have, and they reassure us that when the information comes in, only the information that's brought in by the officer, he's the only one that knows where the information's going, and then it's then fed into the system, and the system then cannot check where it's come from, so it can't be leaked out or anything. So people are reassured that it's confidential, and if we don't try and stop this, especially when it's happening on your doorsteps, then that we let the drug dealers and the junkies walk over, and it's the next generation that it affects, and that's where we've got to be careful. We've got to provide a safe place for children to grow up, where they're not in constant contact with people who are applying their trades, and trying to encourage young people to come and join them in their trades as well.
Indeed. Yeah. Let's move on to something rather more positive, and that is some work that Community First identified the need for, women's boxing.
That's right. Pretty much after we initiated the organisation, we had a discussion with Chris Baker, PC Chris Baker from Cambridgeshire Police, who's also leads on the Cambridgeshire Police Boxing Association, which is based over at Paston Farm Community Centre. And Chris said that it's something that he doesn't see Asian females. A lot of Asian youngsters obviously get into the boxing, and a lot of his youngsters that go to his club are Asian. And he said that the Asian women don't it's something that's not maybe I mean, a lot of women don't go for boxing, you know, because it's associated with violence and brutality and stuff. But as a self-defense and as an exercise, it's actually one of the best activities you can take up.
And building in self-confidence.
That's
as
right.
well.
Yes. Yeah. So we spoke to the council. We managed to gather some funding, and we started our classes. We have now done, I believe, almost 100 females have attended our classes. Those that came in initially, we had a group of 20 in the daytime and 20 in the evening. Out of those, we, I think, kept half, and half didn't come back. But the ones that stayed are now paying for their own classes. So there's a specific class, a paid class, which is separate. All the classes we provided were like introductory and paid for by the funding that we received. So that's been really well received. We were talking to Chris today, and he said it's amazing how the women are taking it on, and you know, he's looking forward to taking on more, especially not just Asian females, but females. It's open to all females
from all parts of the community.
All parts of the community. That's right. Yeah.
How do they find out about this?
We tend to do some Facebook advertising when we start up a new session, because the sessions are 10 classes, so 10 weeks. And they're for beginners, but you know, ladies that have had a bit of experience maybe in that field can come as well. Once we're ready to take on a new class, we'll do a lot of advertising on Facebook and stuff, and even on Salaam Radio and other places to get the word out, so we can get people in. And it's mainly word of mouth. You know, we're getting people coming in and people asking. There is a waiting list for the next class, which will be probably in September now. Yes, that's when we'll be launching the next 10 classes.
And that Facebook is called?
It's Community First Peterborough. So the Facebook page is Community First Peterborough.
All right. Now, one particular event that caught the public attention was Community First's response to the EDL march last October. Can you tell us what happened?
That's right. Well, we'd heard that the EDL were coming down for the third time, and with all the briefing that we had from the police, we weren't expecting a lot of people to turn up to the march. So our idea was, it's taken from a news article that we saw, I think around the same sort of story scenario over in Birmingham, where a mosque opened its doors and invited people in. So we didn't have a mosque to hand that would open its doors for us. I mean, we didn't really approach the mosque because we wanted to keep it so that there was no disruption in the mosque, and it was in a community centre sort of environment. Anybody could come. So a couple of us from Community First, and then we got together with a couple of councillors, Councillor Shaz Nawaz and Councillor Richard Ferris, and we put together a quick sort of summary of what we were going to do. The Beaches School gladly hosted us, and we had almost 400 people turn up to the event, which was very good. I believe there was about 30 people that turned up to the EDL demonstration. We had a mixture of communities. So we had Eastern European, we had people from the diverse Asian community, English community, we had the police, we had the city council, we had the mayor, and the mayor asked to be invited because the mayor has to be officially invited. So we had to go on his website 2 days before to invite him to the event, and that was through contacts in the council. I'd heard that the mayor wanted to attend our event specifically. We had local fire brigade, we had a representative from the Territorial Army, and pretty much a wide variety of people from all walks of life in the in Peterborough. So yeah, it was quickly put together, and it was quite successful, and we helped to build on it. We got future plans for other events of a similar nature.
So when people look at communities in our city and think that we don't communicate and we don't mix, a simple event like that shows differently, shows that we can really make something of community life across the cultures, the faiths, the different groups that live here.
Definitely. We have to, there's one thing that we can't avoid, and that's each other. We've got to live with each other, so we might as well make the most of it.
Yes, I say we breathe the same air.
We do, yes, yeah.
Now, the best community life is where we join in friendship across boundaries that we perceive exist, whether the boundaries come because of different faiths or cultures or social status and so on. And you and I, Saeed, have been working together across these boundaries for 2 years now.
We have.
We've been photographed together in coffee shops in town.
We have, yeah.
People have been startled to see us. Anyone who's viewing this show on Facebook or YouTube can see how different we look. Myself as a vicar in a dog collar, and you with a mature beard and a turban, often taken by the outside world to mean that you're an imam.
Yeah, fake imam, yeah.
But what I wanted to get to is how we are showing the way we can work together across our communities. So how was it that we were invited to visit Peterborough Regional College together?
One of the panels I sit on is the Hate, Crime and Tension Monitoring Group, which is led by the police and the City Council, and they just meet up every 2 months just to discuss any issues. At that meeting was also a representative from the college, and they mentioned that they used to have an in-house, they have a religious team there, but they don't have anybody from the Muslim faith. They used to have some volunteers who unfortunately couldn't take up the role anymore. I put across to them that myself and yourself would gladly come down, arrange a time, and we'll come down, pay a visit, and even meet the students and discuss any issues, anything that basically people would want to discuss. So yes, we went down, we paid a visit to the team there, had a cup of tea and a walk around the college, and it was interesting to see all the diversity. I mean, they have thousands of students there at the college. It looks like a small building, but there's thousands of people there from all over the world, and different communities, different faiths, different colours, creeds, everything. And the majority of the time, I think 99% of the time, everything goes perfectly, but people have questions about different faiths and they don't know who to approach or how to ask a question, and that's where we sort of took it on to show that how different religions can be friends and not have any animosity or any, we disagree, over how much, or the color of coffee and the color of tea or whatever. But we can disagree over so many things, but we always have to look at what unites us, what keeps us together, because we're a community. So whether we like it or not, we have to live with each other, and we have to, it's like living in a family. You always have things that you get on with your brothers and sisters, and things you don't like about your brothers and sisters, and that's what we are. We're brothers and sisters at the end of the day, and we have to live together. Yeah,
I think people are guided by what they read in the media or see on television or social media or hear from their friends or home life, and it might strike them as rather odd that two leaders of different faiths that are portrayed in the media as very opposite are able to get on so well. And I do remember when we walked down the corridors of the regional college, heads were turning.
Yes, yeah.
People were looking puzzled.
I usually have that effect anyway, so it was a bigger effect having yourself there. So yeah, it's about showing. There isn't in the public eye, there isn't that much unity amongst the communities, where we always see everybody in their own spaces and doing their own things. So there is in clusters here and there, but it needs to be more diverse. And hopefully we're working on projects where we're going to build on things that we've done before and encourage the community to work together, even just to meet together and just to be together, just to have tea together, or cakes or food, whatever, and just get together and discuss. And when you sit down with your neighbours and you talk, you get to hear their views, what are the things that they suffer from, or the problems that they have, or the ideas that they have about you or your religion, or life in general. Whether it's about the government or whatever. So
yes.
It's if you sit down and talk to each other, you can solve a lot of issues.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
And just as you and I have found over these past 2 years, we understand things differently, but we've got to got to learn about one another.
We have.
And that's drawn us closer together.
It has, yes. I think your screen's going red.
Now,
Yes.
we're heading for a short break, but do stay tuned, as after the break we will be continuing to explore the exciting work of Community First and look at what they are hoping to achieve in the coming weeks and months for our communities here in Peterborough.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.
Have you visited Amar Food Store yet? Now open at Lincoln Road Triangle, 613B Lincoln Road, Peterborough. Pay us a visit and take advantage of our special offers and great range of products on groceries, vegetables, fruits and halal meat. All your favourite brands under one roof. We take payment by card, have free customer parking and offer a free local delivery service. Also available, PayZone for bill payments and money transfer services to Pakistan. Amar Food Store and Halal Meat. Now open at Lincoln Road Triangle. Call us on 01733 68 73 74. High in quality, low in prices. Third world and developing countries are home to some of the most vulnerable children on the planet. Malnutrition, severe lack of medical aid and access to clean water are just some of the horrific challenges faced by orphans across Africa and Asia. Children of Adam, a Peterborough charity, need your help to bring aid to these orphans for just £25 a month. To sponsor an orphan or assist with other projects, please call 0300 321 0032 or visit www.childrenofadam.net.
Do you own a restaurant or takeaway? Cater Fair is an expert supplier of new and used commercial catering equipment. Visit caterfair.co.uk for quality equipment on sale at the lowest prices, or call us on 01733 310 115 or visit us at 11 Royce Road, Fengate, Peterborough.
Need a great place to chill out? Look no further than The Lounge for quality food and drinks at a great price. Try our varied menu: pasta, seafood, burgers, grills, salad, soup, rice and sides. Also hot and cold drinks, milkshakes and mocktails. Leave room for our exquisite desserts. The Lounge, 417 Lincoln Road, Peterborough. Call 01733 709 306 to order for delivery. The Lounge, friendly service with a great atmosphere.
Gems and jewels, wise sayings, interesting events, and moral lessons from Islamic history. She is in paradise.
Khalid ibn Safwan saw a group in the mosque of Basra, and he said, "What is this gathering?" He was told, "There is a woman who informs men about women who are available for marriage." He went to her and said, "I want to marry a woman." She said, "Describe her to me." He said, "I want her to be a virgin who is wise like a married woman, or a married woman who is innocent like a virgin. She should be sweet when she is near, splendid when she is at a distance. She should have lived a life of luxury and then became afflicted with poverty. So she has the manners of the rich and the humility of the poor. When we gather wealth, we should be as the people of the world. And when we become poor, we should be as the people of the hereafter." She said, "I know of such a woman for you." He said, "And where is she?" She said, "In paradise, so work to achieve her."
This is Salaam Radio, Peterborough's Muslim community radio, broadcasting on 106.2 FM and online.
Welcome back to our listeners to Salaam Radio 106.2 FM. We're Facebook Live, YouTube Live, online at salamradio.co.uk and via our iPhone and Android apps. You can email us on studio@salamradio.co.uk, and you can text and WhatsApp us on 07745 278 978. This is Adrian Holdstock presenting Community Matters, the radio show for all communities across Peterborough and beyond. We're talking tonight about the work of Community First Residents Association with its Vice Chair, Mohammed Saeed. Welcome back, Saeed.
Thank you, Adrian.
What are some of the current projects Community First are looking at?
All right, so some of the current projects, one we've got imminent, which should be launching on the 3rd and 4th of March, is a project regarding the environment. So it's jointly with Peterborough Environmental City Trust, PECT, helping us out on this one. What we're doing is we're taking on 20 flower beds in the Gladstone area. If you've been around, you will see that flower beds are not very well kept. They've either the plants have died or there's just grass growing there. Our idea is to get the local community involved, organisations, mosques, churches, schools, to come and participate with us and take over those 20 flower beds, get them replanted, and get the schools and the local organisations involved in putting some flowers and other things in, and maybe even sponsoring one, and then hopefully to hold a competition at the end to see similar to a Britain in Bloom competition. So we've stolen the name slightly. We're calling it Gladstone in Bloom. We hope to start the same week as the Keep Britain Tidy event, which is the I think it's called the Spring Clean. Which is about litter picking. So the event will start over at the Gladstone Park Community Centre. I believe it's 10 a.m. We'll have a little tea and just a little talk about the project from PECT and ourselves, and then do a little not a fly tipping, but a little litter picking. Yes. around that area. And then on the Sunday we will be doing a litter pick around the Iqbal Centre in this area down here. So that's one of our projects which PECT are helping us with.
Now, I gather that they're going to help us with designing the best shrubs, perennials put in those places. Help us to gain grants to buy the shrubs in the first place and get them established.
That's right.
But how is the community going to contribute to this? Well,
with the community, we hope mosques and churches and schools will take it on and come and join us. And I believe outside the Beaches School there's some flower beds outside the mosques as well. And our encouragement would be to ask the local mosques and the other organisations to participate in either taking over the whole flower bed, so we can help with the design and the planting scheme, and then get them to involved in actually either planting some flowers and extra bits just to spruce up the flower bed. So our aim is to keep low level but evergreen plants, so the plants grow slowly over the year. They don't need a lot of trimming, and then have certain bits of the flower beds left free so that there can be flowers and other things planted in there.
So are you saying that we would like community groups to adopt each flower bed?
That would be amazing, yeah, if a community group could take over, adopt one flower bed, or even two, whatever they can manage. That would be really, it will spruce up the local area. It will bring sort of new vibrant colour into the area, and make it feel more as people more what's the word I'm looking for? Make people
Attractive.
feel more attractive,
Yes.
more responsible for their own area. Because at the moment, when you see something is unkempt, you believe that nobody cares about it. So when you see people are looking after the area and they're looking after the flower beds, especially, it puts a bit of pride back in the area amongst the community, and that's the whole purpose of the project. Hopefully, we can do more than 20, but the aim is to do 20 flower beds.
That's a really good start, and it could be a model to replicate across the whole city.
It could be, yes.
So Gladstone in bloom will become Peterborough in bloom.
It definitely could be, yes. Yeah.
One of the advantages I like about this, as well as improving the environment and giving us a much nicer area to live in, is that we're working together with our neighbours.
We are, yes.
And if people come out with a garden fork or a rubbish bag and work with their neighbours that they might not otherwise know, then we're building more better community life.
It's like you said, there is quite a considerable transient population that we have in especially in the Gladstone area. People come for short-term tenancies and then move on. So people don't have that sense of ownership and sense of belonging in an area. So they think they're here for a short while, they're going to move on, find another place. But there are people now settling themselves down. The schools are here, the shopping is close by. So this is why I'm still here. So we've grown up here. We've got a sense of belonging here. So we've got to make the changes where we see that there are issues. We've got spare time, so that spare time we can use it wisely. Work with organisations that are already out there that want to do things. Because when we approached PEC, they were over the moon. They said, we've been looking for somebody to come and do environmental projects in the Gladstone area with us. We've tried ourselves, but it's didn't have the same impact. So it's been really good, and they managed to secure some funding. So the 20 flower beds will be covered. They will have all new planting scheme in them. The project manager's in place, so she's getting all that sorted out. And on the 3rd and 4th, we should be announcing to everybody what we're going to be doing. And which
so
flower
3rd
beds.
and 4th of March are the launch dates for that.
That's right, yeah.
That's wonderful to know. Let me bring up something that Community First have been looking at. About 18 months ago, we did a survey with the help of Peterborough Youth Services to look at what youth service needs there are in the Central Ward, Gladstone area. And we realised that there seems to have been a slippage of a generation of young people who weren't so well provided for. But I know from experience that people at primary school age are very enthusiastic about any clubs and opportunities that they have to have fun and play and learn together. So we've got the opportunity for scouting to start. It's going to meet in the Beaches School, but it's not only for Beaches School children. It's for anyone who lives in this area, and beavers and cubs. So we've got ages from 5 and up to 10, 11. And that's an opportunity to help build team spirit and membership of a uniformed organisation, the opportunity to grow in citizenship, to learn skills, earn badges, and hopefully that generation will then go on as they go into secondary education to feel they want to continue to be part of something good, rather than find themselves drawn into gangs to find their sense of identity.
That's right. It's an amazing opportunity, and I think it's the first time the Cubs, Scouts or Beavers will be operating in this area. We've got yourself to thank for that, and the Beaches School for hosting it. Hopefully we can get this project off the ground, and it should set the foundations to help youngsters build up their self-respect, their own characters, and to be practical members of local community, and to see that that they're responsible for the community that they grow up in, and not just to be bystanders, but to be active members of the community. And that's the whole project. That's the hope that something like the Cubs and the Beavers the Scouts can instill a sense of a responsibility in young people, a discipline to get them focused, because it's difficult to focus when you've got so many distractions, and there can be so many factors to local personal issues and other issues which can bog down young people, and especially there's so many cases of mental illness and things like that overlooked in so many different communities all over Peterborough, and these things can be tackled when you have young people participating in something that they feel is important, because the activities and things they get to choose to do are really instrumental in helping them establish themselves as young people. Yep.
It's a wonderful project. We trust and pray that will get off the ground.
Definitely.
We're hoping that the Beavers and Cubs will be meeting with leaders trained and in place by late spring this year. Something else that young people we have in mind to give them something to look at is the Millfield Festival, and the idea that young people and old people might learn from one another.
That's right. The Millfield Festival came about last year. It was quickly put together last year, so the community didn't get a lot of input, but it was a successful small event. And this year the lady in charge has been in contact, and we've had a meeting with her. I think there was a meeting on Monday as well at the Gladstone Park, which I couldn't attend. We have an idea that we've put forward, and that is to get young people to work and interact with the elderly population, and especially in this area we have quite a large population of retired people who lived in retirement accommodation, especially along the Lincoln Road, Cobden Street area, that don't have a lot of access or a lot of contact with the local community. So that's our aim for the Millfield Festival. I'm sure there's lots of other things will be happening there, but our aim is to get the local elderly population to be part of that event, so that it's the whole community partakes, rather than just we don't want it to look like it's an event just for one community, but the whole community. And Millfield or the Gladstone area and surrounding area has a very diverse population, so you can get I'm not sure how many languages are spoken in the beaches. Was it
39 when I last asked? Yes.
I'm sure it was 2 when I was there, but that was a long time ago.
And I know another project very close to your heart is five-a-side football.
Yes, have been planning. It's been on hold because I've been doing so many other things. I haven't managed to get this one going off. It's after our a little get together we had whilst the EDL were here that I came up with another project that we can put together, and hopefully we can get that kicked off by the summertime, and that is a five-a-side charity tournament that we're hoping to put together, which is going to involve lots of different teams from the vast community. So just like we had lots of different participants at the get-together at the beaches, we hope to have participation from all the different organisations, so the ambulance, the fire, the schools and other organisations and companies, big companies that we have here in Peterborough. We hope to get them all involved and have a charity tournament, hopefully by the summer. So yes, this is the first time I'm announcing it to the public, but yes, hopefully by the summer I'll have it up and running.
You've committed to it now.
Definitely.
Now, all of this goes beyond a very localised residents' association in part of Central Ward. But something is changing about Community First. We are registering as a charitable incorporated organisation, which is the modern terminology that the Charities Commission have given to organisations that want to be properly constituted and legally bound as charities. But the name of Community First is changing, and so is the catchment area.
It is.
Can you
yes.
tell us what's happening there?
So initially we were a residents' association formed for the Gladstone area. we have now decided that we will be a community organisation to represent the greater Peterborough area. So we will still be working, a majority of our work will be around the Millfield, New England, central area, but we will be hopefully taking on things that are important to the rest of the city as well, because we all have the same issues, whether we're living in the Central Ward or Bretton or Hampton or wherever it is. You know, we're all human. We've all got the same problems. So if we can work together to sort those issues out, then even better. Yep.
Well, now looking further ahead, perhaps over the next 2 to 4 years, what would your dream be for community life in Peterborough?
We hope to have more unity, more interaction between the different communities. I mean, I know when we were in school, we had so much interaction with members of different faiths and different communities. And once you leave that environment, and depending on where you settle or what kind of work you get into, things change all the time. So it's important to keep contact with all the community of Peterborough and keep it a united Peterborough. Yeah.
I came to Peterborough 6 years ago, and this is my first experience of an inner city, very multicultural environment. And I've been delighted to become involved in community first. But along that journey, we've been very much helped by a number of people. I'd like to particularly identify people, officers from the City Council and people from PCVS.
Yes, we've had a lot of assistance from PCVS, from the City Council. They've seen our vision. We've been encouraged by their statements as well. So Kate Harding has been instrumental in helping us out from the City Council.
Thank you, Kate.
Along with Adrian Chapman, her boss, and the same with Louise Porter and Leonie McCarthy from PCVS. Without them and with the work that they do, and they're based here in our area as well, but the work they do for the whole community of Peterborough is amazing. So hats off to them. Yeah.
Now, somebody has contacted us about some traffic problems on Lincoln Road. Not just at the moment, but an ongoing couple of problems. I've experienced this myself when I walk up Lincoln Road and attempt to cross the end of Taverners Road. There's no pedestrian crossing there.
Yes, yeah. I have had words with, I think, people from the Highways Agency, but had no success at the moment. So hopefully we'll press the right buttons and we'll get something done. But yes, there is no crossing, no safe way to cross the road from Taverners Road junction with Lincoln Road. So there's a lot of traffic lights there. I think there is a very short break before the lights change, about 5 to 10 seconds. So if you're very fast, then you'll get across. And if you're a mother with a child pushing a pram or a disabled person, it's very difficult. So the traffic has to give you way. I'm surprised there hasn't been any serious fatality there or serious accident, but it's there is a lot more foot flow now from pedestrians crossing over, going to the shopping area, which is further down. So something needs to change there. Definitely, they need to put a crossing. There is a crossing that takes you from one end of Lincoln Road to the other near Green Lane. That's a push button, or is it a bicycle crossing? I think that's a bicycle crossing, but there needs to be a push button crossing installed there, definitely. And we hope to get that done.
We'll keep looking at that.
Yeah.
The other area where you have had some success is the congestion from buses at the bus depot.
Well, I wouldn't say success, but it will be successful probably when the bus depot moves, but we don't know whether that's going to happen or not. We had a big issue a week ago. I believe the bus wash was broken. So the depot, most people know, is on Lincoln Road. The buses all come in relatively at the same time, about 6:45, 7 o'clock, that's end of shift. And when they come in, they do have permission to park one bus and let it wait to go into the depot. But we had on this one occasion up to 9 buses in a row.
Oh, gosh.
So you had the pedestrian crossing near the Barclays Bank was blocked, and the buses were actually physically parked on the pedestrian crossing, so people couldn't cross over. You had cars overtaking the equivalent of 21 vehicles to get around the traffic jam, and nobody from the bus depot actually came out. I did make a short film and put it on Twitter. I managed to find a Twitter account for Stagecoach East, and I did get a reply. There was an apology from the manager at the depot, and I hope to one day soon to sit down with the manager and have a more meaningful discussion. And I can say over the last few days what I've seen is a big change. So I've seen, maybe I'm not there all the time, so I don't see it consistently, but the times that I have been there, I've seen 1 bus coming in at a time, which is for a highly busy area like Lincoln Road. It's it's like a city centre almost. There's a lot of traffic, and for there to be buses just sitting and waiting to go in the depot. I mean, one of the things I pointed out to the city council officers and the police is that if this was any other traffic user, any other road user, say for instance taxi drivers going up to a bus rank, that will not be tolerated if they were blocking the road the way the buses were. I did report it to 101, the police did come, and the reply I had next day from the police was that they believe it's a bus issue. So I have a meeting with the superintendent on the 28th of this month, so I'll definitely bringing that up with them. Yeah,
indeed. Thinking of the police for a moment, you mentioned that you're involved in the hate and tension monitoring panel. Yeah. What sort of work is that?
That's basically it's a briefing from the police regarding any issues. So every couple of months, if there's any issues in the community, there is a hate crime officer based at Cross Keys offices, employed by Cross Keys or the council, I believe, Emma Emlet, and she has a couple of people that help her out, and we have a few different community groups represented there. The city council come, the police are there, and a couple of other organisations, especially schools and colleges and stuff. And it's generally just to see what tensions there are, what the community groups are saying, what news there is, and what can be done, if anything, to resolve issues, and how to work together to resolve anything that comes up, especially when it comes tensions between communities, and especially when the EDL came down, we had a little spike in hate crime, which is natural. It will happen. And it's getting the message out there to people that they can report hate crime. And hate crime, it's not always a hate crime, it can be a hate incident, so there's a big difference between the two. So a hate crime is more when somebody has been violently attacked, whereas a hate incident is more when it's verbally. You can report both. There is an online reporting method, or you can dial 101 and report it to the police. The online method is a lot easier. You can Google it, and it's just a quick form that you fill out online, and somebody will from the constabulary will be in contact with you. So I've tried it out myself. It works quite well.
And I remember myself going to a meeting at Faisana Medina Mosque, where the police superintendent and others came to talk about how seriously they do take hate crime and hate incidents of all types.
That's right. Yeah. It's definitely a high priority for the local council, for the police as well. Whenever incidents pop up, they try their utmost to reassure communities by having specific meetings like the one we attended at the Faisana Medina, and other community groups. Because hate crime, anybody can be a victim of hate crime. It doesn't necessarily have to be the colour of your skin. It can be anything. If somebody's being verbally abusive, that could be a hate crime, a disability, your gender, whatever. So there's a lot of variance. So it shouldn't be. Nobody should have to tolerate any kind of hate.
Surely.
Yes.
Now, Peterborough has been chosen by the government as one of just 6 cities in the United Kingdom to be studied and invested in to show how we can integrate newcomers into community life. We've also just one of 5 local authorities to get support for an integration strategy. What would you most like to see national and local government do to build community life in Peterborough?
Local and national, wow. We went to a meeting a few weeks ago where the Department of Communities was present at the City Council, and there were lots of different groups around the table that were all discussing issues with the people from the department. And there was one underlying thing that everybody was coming back to, and that was that we can handle, the issues in the community. It's the funding that's the problem, and when government keeps cutting funding to councils, it doesn't help. The councils then restricted in what they can do, and that's the underlying issue really, because the communities can manage. Yes, there are other funds that the community groups and organisations like PCVS can apply for, but they need a stable background.
So, with that, we come to an end of Community Matters this week. Thank you. Good night.
We've been talking for an hour.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.
The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the best charity is to provide water.